he didn't leave the badge here? They said, no.
That's because they didn't know what Dan Reeves looked like. It was easy to not know who he was.
They know now, and that's what those troopers are waiting for. I called Sergeant Childers. He drove up here. But unit, great job. As we had that accident at I-40. I don't know. Larry Newman and Dr. Mark Fowler in the studio. Larry, any word on that accident on I-40? I called in quick as I could to warn. It's still blocked off there, isn't it, units?
No, everything is cleared up right now, Dan. They've just got some accidents, some in downtown Nashville.
Well, that's where that accident was,
It was right along in here. You're right.
So it's still showing red there.
They've got something showing.
State Route 230 eastbound Humphreys County. Larry and Dr. Fowler back in the studio. Any word on the details of that accident on I-40? Unit said it happened at 7 a.m. Well, I got there at 11 a.m. I had a fateful decision I made. I made the wrong call. I talked with the state troopers. They said it'll be at least 2 hours before we get it cleared. If I'd have stayed put right there, it'd have been 1 o'clock. And I'd have breezed on here. But I went under scenic route through banjo country, and I did meet a couple of hillbillies. Not that I wanted to. I felt like I was on the set of Hee Haw. Any word on what happened out there this morning, guys?
Yeah, a portion of Interstate 40 was closed in Hickman County after a tractor-trailer overturned. It was carrying wine. So it was a truckload of wine.
That's why they blocked the road up. I thought I saw Charlie and him out there loading up some wine. And they had some Dean Martin playing. You little old wine drinker, you and me. And that's what, you know what? I should have. They faked me out, units. I need to study people a little stronger. And by the way, the Hickman County Ladies Auxiliary, I saw them out there, and they were kind of stumbling around it too. Now it makes sense, units.
That's what it was. They had to clean up all those bottles of wine, and certainly the state troopers just wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. I guess you could say that. Just a final thought from me, Dan. Outstanding game that we've seen today. The Class 3A ladder is set for Thursday. Livingston Academy taking on South Gibson, and Elizabethton taking on Southside. We're going to be here. As mentioned, we're going to leave probably 5 a.m. that morning. But, again, a great win for South Gibson. They punched their ticket. Real quick note, that is Katie Embry's second time of having a different team in the state semifinals in 3 years. She's taken 2 different teams to the state semifinals in 3 years. Hats off to her. Also a great win for Southside.
Who's the other team she brought
The other team, she came from Summertown to South Gibson to be the head coach at South Gibson.
Summertown.
So she took Summertown to the state championship game, lost to Loretto. She played them 5 times the same year. So I wonder if
Well, and so that's the way it is. That's the way it was today from the Murphy Center in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Dr. Fowler, are you in the house? Are you making a house call today, Dr. Fowler, Paige and Dr. Fowler?
I'm in the house.
Well, you're there, and Doc, and we're going to thank our sponsors. Then we're going to get out of here and turn it over to Dr. Fowler. What you guys got on the agenda today, Doc?
Well, we're going to survey the headlines. We're going to talk about a great American hero named James Bond Stockdale. And we're going to talk about the mayor's candidate forum as well. So we got a big show, a lot of things to talk about tonight. We're going to talk to Dr. Shannon Bone at Advanced Rehab about some of the things he's doing, specifically BioT. And we're going to talk to his wife, who runs Beauty to the Bone. So all of that coming up in just a few minutes.
Fowler. And I thought that was, you see that gray hair over there?
I did not.
No, it's right now. Send it to the scores table.
Okay, yes.
I thought that was Bill Hamilton. That's his, what do they call it? Doppler? What do they call it?
Doppelganger.
Doppelganger. So, we thank Texas Tire for bringing you Jackson Southside Lady Hawk basketball. Texas Tire. Not to be confused with Texas toast, but it's the Texas tires, the best thing since sliced bread when it was made into Texas toast. Because when you say it's the best thing since sliced bread, I think, is that as good as it gets, really? Bread? Not that hard. A loaf of bread, get a knife, slice the stinking stuff. Texas tire, the best thing since Texas toast. Lift kits, wheels, tires, drop kits, 2033 North Highland, Jackson. They do wheels, tires, custom wheels, wheel repair, custom lift kits, drop kits, TexasTires50.com. They finance, no credit needed. We still don't know if we can get approved. 731 and 736-1980. They'll get you approved, won't they? You know, I got my Kroger card repo. CWA Development is 80 years of experience with commercial and residential maintenance, restoration, and renovation, fire and water damage restoration, plumbing, gutter, roof, and window cleaning, wood repairs for a fence or a deck. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 9, and open on Sundays. If you need them for an emergency, they'll come running. Local people doing it better. CWA Development. Call 731-503-9598. 731-503-9598. People that you trust when it comes down to fire and water damage, plumbing, drywall, gutter, roof, window cleaning. They do commercial and residential maintenance, restoration, and renovation. Coming soon to a brand new website as well. Also, making it possible to be here today, our friends over at Mulligan's Marietta family, MulligansJackson.com, Mulligan's. And St. Patty's Day, son, we'll be here before you know it, Mulligan's. By Caracos Pizza, that's Grandma Caracos, that's her family recipe, family owned and operated. And Thompson Farms, Caracos Pizza. Also presented by our friends over at Carbon Cardiology, the brand new location, and the newest one is now open in Jackson on Murray Guard Drive. Lifeline Voice and Data, more than just a phone line, it's a lifeline, lifelinevoice.com. By Precision Auto Body, Mark and Kim, between Milan and Medina on Highway 45, just outside of Medina toward Milan, the absolute best, PrecisionAutoBodyTM.com. By Southeastern Termite Pest Control and Service Company, they called today, they're coming tomorrow to spray the office and the house and look for termites because they're swarming. 731-660-1052. By Jackson State Community College, reconnect with Jackson State Community College, JSCC.edu. And the Jackson-Ennis County School System, jmcss.org. Check that website, one of the best there is. And by Marco's Pizza, Van Drive, and on South Highland in Jackson and in Dyersburg. They're hiring for all positions. Apply online at marcos.com. We're out of time today. Thank you, Unit. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Dr. Fowler. Thank you, Easter Bunny. And thank you, Southside. Lady Hawks win it in blowout fashion. Linden Mule fashion, 44-31 over Upperman. Southside is 32-0. They'll play next in the semis Thursday at 6, and we'll be here as Elizabethton beat Dyersburg 66-54, and they'll meet Jackson Southside in one semifinal Thursday at 6. Elizabethton 30-4, Southside 32-0. The other semi in Class 3A, it was Livingston Academy knocking off Greenville 63-60. So South Gibson beat the snot out of Dyer County 46-29. So it's South Gibson and Livingston Academy Thursday at 4:30 in the other semifinal. The two winners will meet Saturday at 11 for the Class 3A Girls State Championship. That's all for us today. Unit and I are about to hit the hospitality suite like a maniac.
And
we're going to carpet bomb the hospitality suite.
We're about to blast a few bars wide open. After today, we both needed it. When Z-Money and I were driving through Moonshine Country, I said, no matter what you do not slow down below about 60 miles an hour.
I tell you, Dr. Fowler and Larry, I about got in trouble. I had a beer helmet on because Budweiser and the King of Beers and Mick Ultra, Bud Light King of Calls, but I had two Capri drinks in them, And state trooper questioned me about it, and I was like, oh, those are capris. He said, that ain't funny. Now get out of here, Reeves. So that's all for us. Back to the studio we go. And Dr. Mark Fowler, Larry Newman is producing and directing. Southside wins it. Thanks for listening. Have a wonderful Tuesday afternoon.
This is WBFG 96.5 FM. Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Mark Fowler, and we're at 96.5 News Talk Radio in Jackson, Tennessee. It's 64 degrees outside. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining, and we're here in the studio. Congratulations to the Jackson Southside Lady Hawks, having defeated Upperton, and they will face Elizabethton on Thursday night at 6 o'clock. We'll be there about 5:30. Dan Reeves will call the game for you. Who is Dr. Mark Fowler and where is Dan Reeves? He is not lost. He is in Murfreesboro calling the basketball game up there. I've recently joined the studio for trial purposes, and we'll see how that goes. I am a physician, former attorney. I write columns, and you can see my columns at markwfowler.com, right of center, which implies that I'm slightly conservative, but with a reasoned approach to conservatism and a reasoned approach to the issues of our day. We'll be talking about those in just a few minutes. Thank you for joining us. Our phone line sponsor is CWA Development. CWA does a lot of things. They're specialists in commercial and residential maintenance, restoration, and renovation. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And they are the sponsors for our show today. The telephone number is 731-503-9598. Again, open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 9, but they'll answer your call on Sunday. They do renovation, fire and water damage, plumbing, roof and window cleaning, gutter cleaning. I'm going to have them come and clean my gutters, wood repairs to the fence, and deck repairs. So give them a call. We appreciate them very much. You want to call into the show? The number is 731-265-6496. Want to give a shout out to some of our other sponsors, Advanced Rehab and Medical here in Jackson, Tennessee on the bypass. They have a clinic with Urgent 45, and they're doing some interesting things with BioT and injectable hormones. We're going to be talking to Dr. Shannon Bone shortly, and then we'll talk to his wife who runs Beauty to the Bone. We also want to give a shout out to Gene Langley Ford in Humboldt, Tennessee. Air code 731-784-9311 at 3500 East End Drive. If you're looking for a new or used car, go out and give them a visit. They would be glad to see you. Let's do some housekeeping here. As you know, we have a mayor's race. We have a number of candidates in the mayoralty race, and we will have a forum on March 23rd at 6 p.m. If you're interested in participating in the forum, you can submit questions. Go to our website, look under the website or the app for the Mayor's Candidate Forum, submit your name, and submit a question. If you got an issue or a concern that you want the mayoral candidates to address, they can help you. Good afternoon, Larry Newman.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good, man.
Thank you, sir, for being here, keeping us between the white lines. I'm Dr. Mark Fowler. Captain Larry Newman has got us between the lines. Dan had some problems getting to Murfreesboro, didn't he?
He did. That truck turned over, I think, about 7.
7 o'clock.
And he left here at 10:30. So he should have been up there an hour and a half before the game.
Yeah.
And they took him through a scenic route, and he said there must have been 60 trucks going 2 miles an hour, just one after the other. So.
Well, you know, I can understand the delay. There were 30,000 pounds of boxed wine and bottled wine. And I was looking at the pictures, and some of the individuals unloading the truck seemed to be very happy. So that may or may not have slowed down the repair. But
I'm sure some of them were whining. But,
whining about the problem. Well, thank you for being here, Larry. We've enjoyed being with you. Larry's going to run the board and keep us from going into the ditch, hopefully. And we're not carrying any wine, so that should help as well. Larry, let's survey the headlines in the news. There's a very good argument to be made that wokeism is going off the rails, and we may turn the corner. Your good friend, Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, lost the election.
She lost. I thought that was funny.
With a capital L, she lost. When she ran several years ago, she won every ward in Chicago, not every precinct, but every ward. And this time, I don't think she got but about 13% of the vote. You have to feel sorry for the people in Chicago. They have a terrible problem with gun violence up there. But they also have a problem with a woke DA, Kim Foxx, who was sponsored by George Soros, along with George Gascon in Los Angeles, Kim Gardner in St. Louis, and Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And they have tried to implement a soft on crime policy, which surprisingly has increased the rate of crime. And that's a tough situation. Larry, are you familiar with Coronado, California?
I've heard of it, but I don't know. You tell me all about it.
All right. Let's talk about Coronado, California. As you know, California has 30% of all the homeless people in the United States, mostly centered in San Diego and Los Angeles. Coronado, California is a small town just adjacent to San Diego. And the mayor there, Richard Bailey, has implemented a policy so that they have no homeless people. And it's a straightforward common sense policy. And the policy is this: the police encounter you on the street and you appear to be homeless, then you are either going to jail or somewhere else. As a consequence, guess how many homeless people they have in Coronado?
A bunch.
Zero.
Zero.
In
that was my second guess. It was either going to be a lot or none.
Yeah, zero in Coronado, California. Now, his choice is this: get the help you need or go home. Go somewhere else. He doesn't want you. And
News Talk Western.
And the people in Coronado, Los Angeles, San Diego, and other places have a right to enjoy peace and safety and cleanliness.
Right.
And these homeless areas are cluttered up with tents, cluttered up with human waste, cluttered up with used drug needles, and that is no way to run a city. However you feel about homelessness, Mayor Bailey of Coronado says they boil down to two groups: those that want help and those that don't want help. And we wish all homeless people well, but we also wish that the citizenry would live in a clean, prosperous city, free of people going to the bathroom in the streets. Terrible situation. In Los Angeles, California, there is the liberal district attorney named George Gascon. George Gascon is another one of these Soros-sponsored district attorneys, and he has recently been sued by one of the district attorneys he supervises, who claims she was demoted. And she claims she was demoted for inappropriate reasons. She has recently won a $1.5 million against George Gascon. Very early in the process, but that is a significant blow to Mr. Gascon, I would think.
I would think that too.
That would slow you down just a little bit. So it's early in the process. She just won the judgment. I'm sure Gascon will appeal, but in the meantime, somebody is putting him back in his place. We just all want to live in safety and security, and we all want to be treated fairly. Kim Gardner is under attack in St. Louis. Now, there's an interesting situation. You remember, Larry, back when Antifa was going strong.
Right.
And Mr. and Mrs. McCloskey, you remember those?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, they were living in a gated community. Antifa broke through the gate and was threatening to rape and pillage. And Mr. and Mrs. McCloskey, who were attorneys, stood out on their front porch and said, basically, not on my watch. Now, Kim Gardner did not meaningfully prosecute the Antifa protesters, but she did prosecute, I want to say persecute, and that's probably not a bad word either, the people, Mr. and Mrs. McCloskey. They were forced to give up their guns. I think they were disbarred for a brief period of time, but the governor did pardon them, and I think they're in the process of getting their law licenses back. But that was a strictly political prosecution. And it backfired in her face because she chose to make an election video with that. And the Bar Association said, you can't do that. They filed an ethical complaint against her. Recently, a young lady from Tennessee lost both of her legs due to a fella who was on probation or parole, had an ankle monitor. He had over 100 violations, and he was out riding around in a car, speeding, lost control of it, and crushed both of her legs in the accident. She would have died, Larry, if her father did not have trauma training from the military, saved her life, but she lost her legs, whereupon the Republican Attorney General in Missouri is moving to oust Kim Gardner for dereliction of duty. And finally, there were protesters in the Atlanta police training ground. A number of protesters were arrested. Only 2 of them were from Georgia. The rest were from out of town and were agitators. One of those agitators was from the Southern Poverty Law Center, claiming that he was there as a legal advisor or observer, but he has been arrested and charged with disturbing the peace, I suppose. Larry Krasner and Kim Fox. Larry Krasner's in Philadelphia. He's not doing well. A lot of criticism directed against him, and a lot of criticism directed against Kim Fox, who mishandled the Jussie Smollett situation.
Oh, God.
That was... Did you not find Jussie's story reliable?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
When he said it, I didn't find it reliable. We've got a phone call.
Oh, we had a phone
for
call.
You, yeah.
Let's go to the
Let's
phone
pull
call.
him up. Okay, caller, you're in the studio.
Well, hello, it's Kim over at Advanced Rehab and Medical in Biotin. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good.
Thank you for your call, Kim. What's on your mind today?
I was just calling to check in and say hello and see what was going on.
Well, there's not much going on. We are still on the air. Dan had a little trouble getting to the game, and if you were listening and you found it difficult to follow him, that's what the problem was. Tell us about BioT. Y'all are doing BioT, are you not?
Yes, we are. Biotin is all natural hormone replacement therapy, and it is phenomenal. It is plant-based, and it takes care of. It's for men and women. It's testosterone and estrogen if you need estrogen. It's all plant-based. It's going to get rid of hot flashes, give you more energy, make you just feel like you're in your 20s again is the best way to describe it.
Well, you said something very interesting there. You said it's for men and women,
Mm-hmm.
and you give testosterone and estrogen both to men and to women?
Oh, no, we don't give estrogen to men. No way.
Okay.
No, sir. We give just testosterone to men. But for when it comes to the women, depending on where they're at with their blood work, we would give estrogen if needed.
I see. Now, let me ask you, Kim, can you tell the audience what are the symptoms of testosterone insufficiency?
Oh, yes. You're looking at fatigue, weight gain, headaches. If you're, hot and cold, can't sleep good, you can't lose any weight, you just have no energy whatsoever to do anything. And, one of the main symptoms is a low libido. But this, it definitely helps. I feel completely better when it comes to if you want to clean the house or play in the yard or whatever it is you're wanting to do.
Do you see a lot of men coming to advanced rehab and medical to get testosterone to help clean the house?
I don't see them coming to help clean house. They're coming more so they have the energy to go hunt or fish or something.
Okay. All right. Well, you mentioned cleaning the house, and I just wondered if that people were coming to see that. All right. So that leads me to think that a majority of your male patients seeking BioT replacement would be 40s, 50s, 60s?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're in their early 40s. I do have some men who are in their mid-30s because people are losing testosterone younger and younger these days. And when you're losing that testosterone, it can be due to high stress levels, the work schedule, if you're working a crazy swing shift, and lots of activity if you're overdoing things. That can really put a lot of stress on your body, and make your testosterone go down.
Now, I would be willing to guess that some of your patients, until they heard of BioT, were sitting in their chair saying, well, I don't feel like I used to feel, but that's because I'm 55 years old, and I guess that's just part of aging. But there's something you can do about that, correct?
Oh, correct. Yes. Yes, sir. There definitely is.
Okay, fantastic. Now, you and I both know that women suffer terribly sometimes from hot flashes due to menopause, and menopause can be an unpleasant experience. What do you have to offer for the women who might benefit from BioT?
Well, I know I was one of those women, and it has definitely been a changer. I was having severe hot flashes, night sweats, like you said. We would definitely do a lab draw, a deep dive into your blood work. We're going to look over everything, your testosterone level, your estrogen level, your progesterone levels, all your vitamin levels, and most importantly, your thyroid, because your thyroid has so much to do with a lot of things as well. But we would pellet with estrogen and testosterone, and the hot flashes go away, pretty much in about a week.
Perfect.
The hot flashes and night sweats go away.
Now, you mentioned a deep dive into blood work. Would that be a complete blood cell count?
Yes, sir. It is.
And-
We're looking at your... I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. And a comprehensive panel, as doctors call that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So you're taking a look at kidney function, liver function, blood cell function or marrow function, and thyroid stimulating hormone. So that's a fantastic screening set. Now, as you know, you mentioned that women can get estrogen and testosterone. Would you comment just a little bit on that?
Yes, and depending on how far into menopause you are, you might get we look at different dosing for you. This is actually all natural, so it's not the estrogen that is synthetic, that is the breast cancer causing
Right.
estrogen that people are so scared of.
Right.
This actually helps protect the breast. This is all about protection of the brain, the heart, the breast, your bones, circulation, joints. People are seeing a lot of difference in their joints, like no joint pain. Their arthritis is eased up a lot. I had a patient this morning who was talking about how he had been out. He's probably in his early 70s, and he's been out, cleaning up the yard from all of these storms, and spent all day yesterday and was completely exhausted and woke up feeling great this morning, which was something brand new. So that's exciting to hear.
Fantastic. Now, this is not just some off-the-wall stuff. There is a large, significant medical movement behind BioT. Is that correct?
There is. Yes, sir.
Fantastic. All right. And I think they've got this workup down. They know what to look for. Then they adjust. And actually, the recommended doses of estrogen and testosterone are calculated down at the headquarters, are they not?
Yes, sir. We put it all into the BioT system, and they calculate it based on weight, your symptoms, based on what you are feeling. So if you come back and you're like, well, we adjust it towards your symptoms, not just what the blood work says. It's all customized just for the patient. So,
Perfect.
We're all about feeling better.
Perfect. Now, this is cash pay. This is not covered by insurance, is it?
No, sir. It is definitely not covered by insurance.
Okay.
So, and that is one thing that a lot of people are concerned about. But no, it is not.
You do it twice a year.
For men, they do it twice a year. Yes, sir.
And how often?
For women, we do it every 3 months for women.
Every 3 months for women. Fantastic. All right. Let's see. Dr. Bone's wife runs, Beauty to the Bone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We are going to take an obscene commercial break here in just a minute and acknowledge some of our sponsors, but have her call us in a few minutes if you don't mind. The number is 731-265-6496.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I'll reach out to her.
Thank you so much. Friends, you're listening to News Talk 96.5. Dan Reeves is in Murfreesboro calling the ladies' basketball tournament up there. Congratulations to Jackson Southside. They defeated Upperton, and they will face Elizabethton on Thursday at 6 o'clock. Larry, you got the board. You want to go to an obscene commercial break?
Sure, let's do it.
All right.
The Southside Hawks play here. 96.5 FM, News Talk West Tennessee. NewsTalkWTN.com.
Opinions are like smartphones. Everybody has one. Text your opinion to us on the News Talk West Tennessee text line. Text 731-800-TEXT. That's 731-800-8398. The News Talk West Tennessee text line, presented by Advanced Rehab and Medical. Dr. Shannon Bone is ranked in the top 10 of the world's best chiropractors. Visit advancedrehabjackson.com and say goodbye to neck and back pain. Text 731-800-TEXT. That's 731-800-8398. Don't text and drive. Looking to add a little spice to your love life?
Nothing adds spice like gunpowder.
Jackson's only indoor shooting range. Date night at the range. Here's what you lovebirds get. A shooting lane for two targets, 100 rounds of ammo, eye and ear protection, and a $30 gift certificate to Texas Roadhouse. All for just $99.99.
Now that's firepower.
Perfect for a gift card from the range. The Range, 2310 North Highland Avenue in Jackson.
Go to therange.com.
And we are back. I'm in here with good Dr. Fowler.
Hello, Larry.
Now, have you met our intern?
Who is your intern?
Right there.
Hello.
Tell him about yourself.
Tell us about yourself.
I'm 14. I go to Trinity.
You have a name?
Cole Snyder. Sorry about that.
So you go to Trinity High School?
It's K through 12.
K through 12.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 8th.
8th grade.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
What do you want to be when you get big?
I don't know.
Well, you're pretty big right
Disc
now.
jockey.
Disc jockey?
Tight
Oh, yeah.
end.
Going for Larry's job.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
Yep.
that hurts. That's dang. Not too soon.
Be careful what you wish for.
Cole, what do you do when you're not in school?
I play football. I work out. I play guitar. I'm on a skeet shooting team.
Skeet shooting team. Now, that's interesting. They didn't have those when I was back in school. Not at the high school level or the 8th grade level. That's fantastic. Now, how does that work? How do you score? Do you have a handicap? How does that work?
What do you mean?
Well, like golfers have a handicap, which allows them to play with people who are better, but they shade the score a little bit.
Oh. I play with people. I'm in middle school, so there's middle school and then high school divisions. But
all right, now what do you shoot? 100 shots at a time?
In tournaments, yes.
All right, 100-shot tournament.
Woo.
What's your score?
Ooh, low 80s.
Low
upper
80s? Okay.
If it's good, maybe low 90s.
It's not always that easy, is it?
No.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of a gun do you use?
I have a Krieghoff. It's an older model. It's not made anymore. I'm not sure the exact.
Is it not a sawed off?
No.
No, you don't look like it. But that's good.
It's a pretty nice sport gun.
All right. Shooting sports are just so big in Tennessee, which makes me smile a little bit, Larry, when they talk about the range here in Jackson and a night for two.
Right.
You get a meal ticket to the Texas Roadhouse, which is a steakhouse and appropriately named for Tennessee. And you can take your date. You get 100 shots and some targets and some range time. I'm confident that the limousine liberals and Chardonnay drinkers would not approve.
I don't think they would.
Cole, are you going to go to college? You have plans to go to college?
I probably will.
Good. And what do you plan on studying?
Yeah, I don't know.
He doesn't know.
Really know.
Okay.
No.
Well, yeah,
He's going to be a doctor. It'll be Dr. Newman, Dr. Fowler,
and Dr. Cole.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Dr. Snyder.
Yeah. Well, Cole, I'll tell you a couple of things about my own experience, if you don't mind. First, do not sell yourself short.
All right.
When I went to high school, I was not all that energetic, unfortunately, to my deep regret now. But at the time, I was, the standard high school student, and I didn't push myself very hard. I wish I'd pushed myself harder, including a more detailed understanding of world literature, Shakespeare and Milton and James Joyce and those kinds of things. So push yourself, because if you lay a strong foundation now, that foundation will serve you well when you get to college. You'll be amazed. When I got to college, I was delighted because so many of the courses that I took were far more interesting than algebra and senior math and physics and those kinds of things that I took. So I had a big time, did well in college. But all through my life, I would have flashes of insight that I should think about going to medical school. Back in those days, you took, let's see, Larry, it was a national service test for the military. Did you take that?
Yes, I did.
All right. And the purpose of which was to see what your aptitude was and see if, how the military might use you as you progress through your life. Did well on it, should have gone into science according to that, but I was never that motivated. But I got into college, and I really had a good time. But I sold myself short. I heard people talking about organic chemistry, which you have to take before you go to medical school. And they were whining about how hard it was for them.
Uh-huh.
And I thought to myself, well, I could never pass organic chemistry. Well, fast forward about, about 15 years or so, and I decided I no longer liked practicing law. I wanted to go to medical school. Well, guess what? I had to take organic chemistry while I was practicing law and while I was teaching at UT Martin, and I made an A. So don't let what other people say hold you back. You promise?
Uh-huh.
All right, and work hard in college. Enjoy your life, but work hard and stay away from the pitfalls.
We have another phone call, Doc.
Fantastic. This is Dr. Mark Fowler on the Dan Reeves Show. You're on the air. Go.
Hello, this is Michelle Bone.
Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, guys. How are y'all?
We are fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
I was out at your facility today. Such a beautiful, beautiful place. But I was captured by the air scent that you had. What was that?
It's called Aroma 360. We get a lot of questions when everybody walks in. What is that smell? What does it smell so good? So, yes, Aroma 360 is a winner over here.
Fantastic. Now, what is Beauty to the Bone? What do they do?
Well, it's a full-service med spa. So we do anything from chemical peels to facials to injectables to weight loss, lasers, anything that has to do with beauty, we do it.
I see. Fantastic. So who is your target clientele?
Anybody that wants to look good.
Okay. I'm not going to go down that road. I was tempted to say ugly women, but I'm not going to say that. That would be bad. All right. So a woman comes in, say she's in her late 50s. She's beginning to get some wrinkles and some lines. She's got a little bit of extra skin below her chin. What are you going to do? How can you help her?
There is of course, I always tell people you need a good skincare regimen.
Right.
Is the skincare regimen going to be a facelift? No. But when you start adding injectables, Botox fillers, you need to have a good foundation, a good skin, because when you start to add fillers and you don't have good skin, then it's going to look like orange peel.
Right.
So that's what I always tell people, start with a good skincare, and then let's assess from there. We do if it's sagging in the jowl area, we do what is called silhouette threads. We do fillers. We have all assortments of different types of fillers. And then we also have the laser, the 4D laser. It's a non-invasive 4D facelift. That's one of the things that go very well here at Beauty to the Bone. I really like this treatment. I have some before and after pictures on my Facebook and Instagram if anybody wants to check that out.
That's fantastic. Your husband was telling me earlier about the effectiveness of the before and after pictures, and he was describing to me how a woman came in and said, listen, I'm spending all this money with you. I can't tell any difference. And they whipped out the before and after pictures, and it was just remarkable, the changes that you had made. And that's great.
Absolutely. And, what is so funny, I had a lady to come in literally about 3.5 weeks ago. I have never seen, I knew her, but I've never done anything to her. I actually just assessed her skin and put her on a skincare regimen. And I told her, I said, if you do this religiously, morning and night, I said, take a picture of your face today. It will change in 30 days. Your skin, clarity, and tone will change. So she came back in to do a facial. And so I brought up her before picture and she had been on the skincare system for about 3.5 weeks, took a picture of her face that day and compared it. It about blew her mind. She says, oh, my goodness. So everything had changed. Her tone, her clarity, her texture. Her face was just so much brighter. And one of the products or one of the skincare lines that I do carry is Hell Cosmeceuticals, and they are a 30-year-old company based out of Bloomington, Illinois. The reason that they're not heard of is not to say that they're not in a lot of med spas or dermatologist offices, because they are. They're around the world. They're just not recognized as a corporation like Obagi, Zoe, Revision. But Hell Cosmeceuticals is a very good skincare line. They put all the money into the products. They are a true they have their own research and development department right there on site. True chemists and true scientists every day developing these products, and they're amazing. And the greatest thing about it is they're affordable. So a lot of women get blindsided when you get to the counter and it's like $600 for skincare. You don't have to spend $600 to have a great looking face or great skin. It's just knowing what to use. And you know, like I said, it's not about spending $600 at the register for some, you know, skincare. You can have great skin and it be affordable. You just have to know. That's why you need to come to Beauty to the Bone, so we figure it out for you.
Fantastic. Now let's ask the tough question. Everybody is concerned about, quote, foreign stuff going into their bodies and medicines and chemicals going into their bodies. Tell me about the side effects and the adverse events associated with your product line.
Are you speaking on skincare or like injectables?
Well, either one.
Okay, so I'll talk with skincare. So I do have 3 different skincare lines: Elta, Hell Cosmeceuticals, and Obagi. The Hell Cosmeceuticals is actually almost organic. It's paraffin-free, cruelty-free, vegan-free, so it's almost in a sense, in some of their products is straightly organic. So that doesn't really, play into part as far as putting something on your skin or your body that's going to be harmful. Now, the other 2 lines, they do have ingredients on there that inside them that might, react to certain people's, chemical makeup or their body. Ball game. Of course, my husband is very holistic. Let's put it that way. He doesn't, even though we have.
Did you say hellistic?
Holistic.
Oh, holistic. Okay.
Holistic.
Okay.
He lives by a holistic approach. So I do get Botox and fillers. He likes the looks, but he doesn't like me necessarily putting toxins in my body. But that's a preference. That's my personal choice. I choose to do that because I want to look good. So, in the 30 years that I've been receiving the injectables, I've never once had, and knock on wood, I've never had an altercation or anything that would cost me to, something to go against my health or cause me to be sick or something that make me look weird or and when you do injectables, you do have to. Here at Beauty to the Bone, we believe in going all natural. We want you to have that natural look. We don't want you to be overfilled. Like if you're 50 and you're trying to look like you're 30. That's not our goal here. We want to enhance what you have. We don't want to distort what God gave you.
I see.
We just want to enhance it a little bit.
Now, this is the toughest question. As a single male, and Mr. Snyder, Dr. Snyder over here, he's a single male. And suppose that you wanted to give your wife, girlfriend, a nice gift. How do you go and say, look, here is a gift certificate for Beauty to the Bone without getting into a fight? Because you see the woman saying, wait a minute, are you saying I'm ugly? Are you saying my lines? What is it you're saying? How do you do that?
Well, here at Beauty to the Bone, we like to have the idea that we are pampering you. So we do have a membership that you come in once a month and you get a facial, and it's any facial that you want, and that's your self-care day. That's the day you come in, relax, and you get pampered. You're going to get that 20 to 25-minute massage. You're going to get a facial. You're going to get dermaplaning, and you're also going to get your choice of microdermabrasion or a chemical peel, all for $119 every single month, and it's your self-care day. You can't even hardly get a chemical peel in this town for $100. So to be able to offer that and to be a B2B member is incredible. So it's not necessarily if you get a gift certificate or somebody that you're insulting them. It's just saying, hey, I want to pamper you. I want you to go and get that facial, get that 20, 25-minute massage. I want you to feel good and be relaxed because, it's not always just about getting injectables or having to do something or chemical peel or whatever. It's just about coming in and relaxing, having that nice facial, that spa feel, and feeling good. And when you leave glowing.
I see. Okay, so you're pampering your significant other.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do men ever come to your facility?
Absolutely.
Do they really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell us about that. What do the men want? What do they get?
So more and more men are starting to choose fillers and Botox because and it takes a little bit more for men as far as Botox are concerned in the forehead because that's where they want it the most. They want to see less lines in the forehead, and it takes a little bit more because the muscle is more. It's a tough muscle. Muscles are tough up there, so it takes a lot more product to kind of relax that. But we see a lot of men who come in for Botox and fillers, and now we're starting to see them with the lasers. And as he's actually a client. He doesn't mind, I'm sure, me telling that he's one of our 4D facelift clients.
Okay, all right. So men come, women come. What's the youngest patient that you have come?
We do teen facials. Yes, we do. We have an awesome teens that come in here. They like to be pampered too, especially if the guys are. We have several guy clients that play sports. They're sweating. They have they getting this acne, and so that's a big part of keeping that face in shape while you're playing sports and trying to look good for the girls.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned something interesting, and I want to pull two threads together. Teenagers get all worked up about acne, and it's really not something that help. It can be disfiguring. It can affect their self-esteem. Is microneedling helpful in eliminating acne scars, sun damage?
Absolutely. If you have some acne scars, microneedling is very effective for that. Now, however, if you are in a state where you have open comedones and you are, broken out, it's not a good time, obviously, to get microneedling. But if it's all healed and you're not having breakouts and you want to have, you want to have a better tone and clarity and texture of your skin, microneedling works great because, as you know, dealing with as a doctor yourself, PRP is platelet-rich plasma. You have your own cytokines and growth factors, and then when you microneedle that into the skin, that goes into remodel and reconstruct. So it's a fabulous treatment for anybody with skin texture issues, whether it be scars, whether it be fine lines or wrinkles, or you just want a bright glow.
Okay, fantastic. Well, that sounds great. That's Michelle Bone from one of our friends at Beauty to the Bone. Did I say that right?
You did.
All right, Beauty to the Bone. What's the telephone number out there?
731-499-8694.
All right, one more time.
731-499-8694.
Fantastic. Thank you for calling in. It's a delight to hear from you, and best of luck with this new enterprise. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we're going to do a little housekeeping now. Again, we're coming back. We have a mayoral election coming up in May. We're going to have a candidates debate on Thursday, March 23rd. Larry, where is that? Do you know?
It is at Northside Auditorium.
Northside Auditorium. Thursday, March 23rd. I think it's about 6:30. Now, you may have issues or concerns or questions. This is your opportunity to directly address the mayoral candidates. The mayor himself is running for re-election. Go to our website or the app, and you will find Jackson, Tennessee mayoral debate. We're asking for your name, and we're asking for you to submit comments, questions, concerns, so the candidates can address them. This is participatory democracy, folks. Get in there. Let us hear from you. This is your opportunity for your voice to be heard. Our new phone line sponsor is CWA Development. When you call in, you're calling in on sponsored lines by CWA. They are fantastic folks. 80 years of experience in commercial and residential maintenance, specializing in restoration and renovation. They do gutter, roof, and window cleaning, power washing, fence and deck repairs. Good time to get started on those deck repairs to enjoy the summer. Light fixture installation, lawnmower repairs, Larry? That's what it says. Yeah, that's impressive.
Sweet.
Yeah, irrigation repairs, installation of sinks, faucets, toilets, garbage disposals, water heaters, and repairing leaks. They do window and door frames, baseboard and trim, and soffit repairs. So they are good folks, 80 years of experience, and they want you as a happy customer. Their telephone number, 731-503-9598. They are open Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., and they have an emergency line for Sunday emergencies. Good folks, we are grateful for their sponsorship. CWA Development. I'm going to go back to our intern. Cole, what's the toughest thing about being in middle school?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, are you doing well in it?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. My grades they're pretty good.
Okay. Do you see people who are unhappy, stressed out in middle school?
Definitely.
Okay. What are they stressed out about?
There's a variety of things. School, family, friends.
It's the school pressure. You know, years ago, I used to practice law. I was a lawyer for several years, and then I wanted to go back to school to get my science prerequisites for medical school. And I remember signing up for physics and general chemistry. And in physics, the professor said, okay, we're going to have a quiz on Friday. If you can't pass the quiz, you can't pass the course. Now, this was in 1991, 8 years since I graduated from law school, and probably 1991, 16 years since I'd studied physics in high school. So we took the course, and I got started, and I took the quiz. Guess what happened?
What?
I failed it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, failed the quiz. And that was a little bit of a setback, but it was just a little bit of a setback. And so I doubled down and renewed my efforts, and ultimately, obviously, passed physics, passed general chemistry, passed organic chemistry, passed biochemistry, passed cell biology. Had to take a several hours worth of science prerequisites before I could go to medical school. And I got accepted in medical school. And the point I want to make is this: repetition is key to learning. In the general chemistry, it's a lot of problems, math problems, so to speak. And I would do those math problems twice. I did every problem in the back of the book twice. Mm-hmm. So that when the test came, there was nothing that I hadn't seen before. It was a breeze. And that is the kind of thing, determination makes all the difference in the world. You know, Cole, this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. And in a few minutes, we're going to talk about a fellow named James Bond Stockdale and talk about his contribution to his prisoners. He was a prisoner of war in the Hanoi Hilton. Before we get to that, we're going to do an obscene commercial break. Captain Larry, you're in charge.
Here we go.
For nearly 30 years, Cambridge Limited has been the place where West Tennesseans come for their dress clothes needs. We are so thankful for the many customers who have stood by us through the years and allowed us to play such a special role in the biggest moments of their lives. Our customer service is unparalleled, and our tailors work around the clock to ensure that your clothes are custom fit to you. With no suit in the store more than $2.59, there is something for everybody here at Cambridge. Come and see what we are all about, or give us a call to book your own wedding appointment today at Cambridge.
King Jewelers is not your typical run-of-the-mill jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. Custom handmade jewelry to suit your taste or melt down your old stuff and create something completely new. Grover has over 35 years as a certified jeweler with while you wait services that include free jewelry cleaning, fine jewelry, friendly staff, custom designs, quality repairs, and of course, Grover. KingJewelersJackson.com, 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson. Follow King Jewelers Jackson on social media for special savings.
Hey, this is Chuck Walker with Southeastern Termite and Pest Control. We recently celebrated our 20th year in business here in West Tennessee. That's 2 decades of growth for us. We've added to our work family, moved locations a few times, seen our coworkers have kids and grandkids. We've even seen our clients who were kids when we started at their parents' house now call us to take care of their homes. Lots of things change over 20 years, but here's what hasn't. We can still be reached 24 hours a day. We still provide quality, guaranteed termite and pest control service for all of West Tennessee. We still are the go-to company for real estate closing letters. We still provide quality fungus treatments and affordable moisture barriers. We still take care of your bed bugs, brown recluse, and every other pest problem you could have. If you own a home, you need termite protection. And the biggest thing we've learned in 20 years, we need you. Give us a call 24 hours a day for a different kind of experience from a service company. Southeastern, 660-1052. That's Southeastern, 660-1052.
Did you know we are a co-op? Hello, folks. This is Gary Deaton at Deaton's Carpet One. Yes, we're locally owned and 1,000 stores strong nationwide. In 1985, Deaton's united with another independent business just like us to gain buying power and added value, to give you a shopping experience that you will just love. As a family business supported by Carpet One membership, we are dedicated to our local community, and yes, we're dedicated to helping others. So ask about our beautiful guarantee. If you don't just love it, we'll replace it. And our healthy living installation that removes mold, mildew, and dust mites. Our lifetime labor warranty on everything that we install. Those 3 guarantees make your buying experience almost priceless. Deaton's Carpet One. Yes, we're a co-op, North America's largest flooring buying co-op. So come by Deaton's Carpet One. We'd love to serve you. We're located on the 45 bypass right here in good old Jackson, Tennessee.
And Doc, we are back.
Thank you, Larry.
We were just sitting in here talking, let people know that Southside beat Upperton 44-31 in their state game. So they play again on Thursday, and if they win Thursday, championship is Saturday. So they played a great game, kind of threw us off a little bit, but we have persevered.
Yes, we have.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Larry, in a minute, I'm going to talk about a fellow named James Bond Stockdale. I'll break in the middle, and you can give us an update on the weather if you don't mind.
Can do.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And it has been fashionable lately for people to run down the United States, claiming that our history is based on slavery and oppression, and slavery and oppression and mistreatment have occurred. And there's no question about that. And that's a lamentable thing. But there is no perfect human civilization anywhere at any time, including today. Moreover, there is no place where people have given so much and done their best, given their lives, their bodies, their efforts, their thought to make this a unique experiment. If you are familiar with the Founding Fathers, and if you're not, you should be, let's just mention some of the names: James Monroe, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Ben Franklin, Alexander Hamilton, gentlemen of extraordinary talent, extraordinary insight, and an extraordinary period of time. These men came together in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to begin the process of building a new nation from ground zero. It was a unique experiment. It was a risky experiment, and success was not guaranteed. These men pledged their solemn lives and their honor to build a new society based on freedom. And while it is true that slavery was a part of that development, a lamentable part, we abandoned slavery. And while it is true there have been times in our country where we have not treated everyone fairly, every day is an opportunity to change that course and to make this the land of promise for everybody. I want to tell you about one of those gentlemen whose name is James Bond Stockdale. Larry, you may remember in 1992, Ross Perot ran against Bill Clinton and George Bush. You remember that?
I remember well.
Yeah. Ross Perot was a bit of an odd character. He was a very successful Texas businessman. And his running mate was James Bond Stockdale. James Bond Stockdale. He was genuinely a true American hero. Francis Bacon said, "Adversity doth best induce virtue, while luxury doth best induce vice." A modern example of that appears to be Alex Murdaugh, who seemed to have everything going for him. A legacy law firm in which he was a partner, success in that law firm, making a lot of money, and it seemed to have gotten the best of him. And indeed, it appears that the jury agreed his luxury did induce vice. James Bond Stockdale, on the other hand, experienced for a long period of time significant adversity. Heroes is a term often misused by the yak liberal media to designate somebody who comes to the attention of society for some stand that they may have taken on a so-called hot-button topic. Equity advocates, reparations advocates, race hustlers, tax reformers are all designated as heroes for no more effort than shouting loudly about the current themes the progressives embrace. And they often make handsome sums of money for doing so. Ibram Kendi is one that comes to mind, claiming that the society has always been racist, and the only way to reverse that is to be racist going forward. I want to introduce you to Vice Admiral James Bond Stockdale, an intellectual, fighter pilot, test pilot, lecturer, winner of 2 Distinguished Service Crosses, 3 Distinguished Flying Crosses, 4 Silver Stars, 2 Purple Hearts, and the Congressional Medal of Honor. His heroism was not an adrenaline-filled rush into an enemy position, nor some quickly executed feat of daring do. He won this medal for making himself a symbol of resistance to his North Vietnam captors, regardless of personal consequences over the course of 7 years. Rather than obtain relief from torture, let me read to you what he did from his Congressional Medal of Honor citation. Stockdale deliberately inflicted a near mortal wound to himself to convince his captors of his willingness to die rather than capitulate to the Vietnamese. Convinced of his indomitable spirit, his captors abated in their employment of excessive harassment and torture toward all prisoners of war. Ladies and gentlemen, those sterile words fail to convey the magnitude of his suffering, which warrants mentioning. Stockdale was a fighter pilot shot down over North Vietnam and captured. He was tortured. His bones were broken. He was starved. At one point, he was down to 50 pounds. Bound in leg irons for 2 years, beaten, psychologically abused. He endured captivity for 7 years, during which he spent considerable time in solitary confinement. As the senior American officer of the prisoners, he did all he could do to maintain the spirit of his Crow prisoners. But think of his dilemma. In physical pain, never knowing when he would be tortured, when or if he might be released and see his family, when or whether he would ever see his family, whether he might succumb to this mistreatment, feeling the continual discomfort of malnutrition, poor clothing, poor living quarters, infested with rats and roaches, suffering under the relentless pressure to surrender to the wishes of his captors, and thereby give the Vietnamese some information or statement they might use as propaganda. And yet he endured 7 years of this. How did he do it? Page 2 coming up in a minute. Larry has the weather for you.
Yes, I do. Currently it's 61 degrees in Jackson, Tennessee. It feels like 61 degrees. The low tonight will be 47. Partly cloudy this evening, then becoming mostly cloudy. Checking Doppler radar, rain is moving into the Jonesboro area. So that's the rain, I guess, that we're going to be getting tomorrow. Lows in the mid-40s, east winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, with gusts up to 25 miles per hour. The barometric pressure in Bemis is 30.17 degrees, or 30.17. Tomorrow, high 51, a 70% chance of storms. Wednesday night, 50% chance of rain showers, and it'll be 47. So, Doc, that'll get us through tomorrow.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes,
so take your umbrella with you.
Yeah. We had a wind event. I don't know what a wind event is, but we had some wind. Did you have any damage from the wind?
Sad. I had a lot of trees and branches, and there was a tin shed, had a roof. Tin, and I mean, those things were just flapping and but they didn't come off. So they were out there fixing that. The thing that got me the most were there were two hawks.
Oh, yeah.
And, hawks get out there and they just ride. They were getting blown out of they were on the ground. They couldn't get back up in the air. I've never seen that.
Yeah, that was disconcerting.
And they would start flapping and they would try to get up there. And, I mean, down they went. It was something else.
You didn't have any personal property damage?
Oh, no.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to News Talk 96.5 Radio in Jackson, Tennessee. Our sponsors for this show include Advanced Rehab and Gene Langley Ford in Humboldt, Tennessee. Gene Langley Ford, go out there and see those good folks. They got new cars, used cars, and they will treat you right. Their telephone number, 731-784-9311. Other sponsors include Advanced Rehab. Their telephone number, 731-472-8805. They have a fantastic array of health services. If you've got the sniffles, Urgent 45 will take care of that. Sniffles, cough, rashes, ear infections, urinary tract infections, lung infections, skin infections, they can fix you right up. We're here in the Gene Langley Ford broadcast room, and we are so thankful for that opportunity. I want to remind you again, if you have input on the mayoral debate, go to our app or our website, look up Jackson, Tennessee mayoral debate. If you got a pothole to complain about, if you have something going on in Jackson, Tennessee that you want the candidates to address, please do so. And please be sure to tune in on Thursday, March 23, for the candidates debate. Our telephone number is 731-265-6496. That number is 731-265-6496. You know, Larry, we're supposed to hear from JP today.
Yeah, I thought he was coming in.
I did too. But
I gave him the barometric pressure, so he'll probably call. But it's only 16 days till the mayoral debate.
Now, JP's actually running for city council.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
He wins that. He said he's going for mayor next.
All right. Is he going to fix everything up now?
Yeah.
Okay. James Bond Stockdale, a true American hero. Ladies and gentlemen, we lived in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and that status rests on the shoulders of heroes like James Bond Stockdale. One of our purposes on the show is to promote Americanism, and I will tell you, we are America first in this station. We are proud of America with all her faults, with all her warts. And if you think America is an evil place, I want you to remember something. In June of 1944, thousands and thousands of American boys signed up and stormed the beaches of Normandy, not for treasure, not for conquest, not for reward, but to rid the world of evil. James Bond Stockdale was an American fighter pilot in the Vietnam experience. When he was shot down in September of 1965, he realized he was leaving the world of fighter pilot and entering the world of Epictetus. Epictetus was a Stoic philosopher. Epictetus is worth knowing about. Epictetus was a former slave who sustained an injury to one of his arms, was unable to use that arm, but as he gained his freedom, he opened a Stoic philosophy school. He wrote the Enchiridion, Enchiridion. If you're not familiar with that, please look it up. But Epictetus was a Stoic philosopher. He had no control over his circumstances, and he came to an insight. And James Bond Stockdale embraced that insight. Stockdale had been shot down as an American fighter pilot over Vietnam, and he was captured by the North Vietnamese. Stockdale had no control over the malignance of his captors, of his living conditions, of his freedom, of anything save one thing, and that was his reaction to the circumstances in which he found himself. Stockdale quickly learned that he must ignore both fear and hope, for he realized that he can endure the torture he received once he controlled his apprehension over being tortured. He learned that false hope of rescue this week or next month or next year could soon give way to despair as he watched those who held such feelings die of disappointment. Relying on his knowledge of Stoic philosophy, and particularly that of Epictetus, he survived. He developed with the other prisoners a tap code to be used to communicate with his fellow captives to keep their spirits up and keep them alive. All the while knowing that discovery of this tap code would lead to punishment, and frequently did. He came to realize that the most valuable thing in his experience was the life and the health of his fellow captives, and so he dedicated himself to the task of maintaining morale. For 7 years, as a prisoner, for 7 years, tortured, beaten, starved, mistreated, poorly clothed, kept in chains. In war, soldiers do not fight so much for God or for country or for some creed as they fight for one another. Because at its fundamental level, to run away is to imperil colleagues with whom they have trained and fought. In captivity, the struggle to survive is intertwined with the struggle to help others survive. Stockdale defied his captors, often inflicting wounds so that he could not be used on television for propaganda purposes. By doing these things, he was not overcome with grief or despair or frustration, all of which he experienced at one time or another, and he lived through. What he did was to exercise his will to hold fear, hope, despair in abeyance while he did his best to live as honorably as he could under the circumstances he was in. There are notes of Stoicism in Christian thought. In Matthew 6, Jesus reminds us that we could not add 1 hour or 1 cubit to our stature by worrying. That is Stoic philosophy. St. Paul, in the 4th chapter of Philippians, noted that he had learned to be content in whatever circumstances he found himself in. Paul was beaten, imprisoned, stoned, left for dead for spreading the gospel. That concept of being content to survive in whatever circumstances he found himself in was Stoic philosophy. Life is unfair. It was ever thus. Whatever moral arguments can be made for slavery reparations, or for striving for equity, or for condemning past racism, or for addressing systemic mistreatment of one group by another, can never overcome the simple moral lesson of doing one's best with the hand that you have been dealt. Dr. Ben Carson is a world-renowned neurosurgeon. He was raised by a single mother who could barely read, but she made he and his brothers do book reports, and she marked them up. Ben Carson's success is in large part due to his effort, to his devoting his will to succeed. We do not endorse mistreatment of any race or any category of people in the United States, but it is to acknowledge that accumulating grievances and adopting the status of victimhood serves no real human interest. It does foster resentment and anger. Admiral Stockdale could have been angry and resentful at his predicament. He was not. He refused to give in to his base instincts, but cultivated his character through the exercise of his will. And this is what our society should embrace. It is what teachers should teach. We will always need courage, character, and perseverance. But what we do not need is grievance mongering. Hats off to James Stockdale, a true American history, a true American hero, and one of the reasons we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. What say you, Larry?
Oh, man, it's almost that time. And I just have enjoyed being here today.
It's been a pleasure to be with you, Larry. We've had a great show. We miss Dan Reeves. If you're wondering what has happened to Dan, he has not abandoned the ship.
Maybe not.
If you're not wondering.
But all you have to do is say, hello, Newman.
Hello, Newman.
Hello,
Reeves.
Doc.
Captain Dan Reeves is in Murfreesboro officiating over the ladies basketball tournament. If you have not heard yet, Jackson Southside Lady Hawks defeated Upperton and will play again. Who do they play?
Who they play today or who they play
played
next?
Upperton today.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a possibility they may meet Gibson South?
Yeah, well, that would be South Gibson. They'd meet them in the championship if they both win their next game.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Some local teams doing very, very well. I know that we're very proud of them. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Again, our telephone number is 731-2664. Pardon me, 731-265-6496. If you want to comment, give us a call. We'd be glad to hear from you in the last couple of minutes of the show. We'll be doing more of this. Dan will be out of town until Thursday, performing at Murfreesboro and monitoring, calling the games for us. I will be back tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock with Captain Larry Newman, and we will be flying high. Larry, thank you so much for keeping us between the white lines today.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And we hope to see Cole Snyder again. We appreciate your phone calls. We appreciate you watching us. We want to give a shout out one more time. Gene Langley Ford and Advanced Rehab and Medical. So thankful to them for our sponsorship, along with CWA Development and renovation and restoration they do. Give them a call, 731-503-9598.
This is WBFG 96.5 FM. 96.5 FM. Parker's Crossroads, Jackson.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. The Biden administration is considering detaining migrant families who cross into the U.S. illegally. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
U.S. officials say